All right, everybody. So we are joined by the founding member of one of the greatest metal bands on the entire planet Earth. And they are regularly topping the charts in their homeland of Sweden. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Oscar Dronjak of Hammerfall. Oscar, how are you, sir?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah,
You all right?
I'm doing quite well. It was funny because when I woke up, I realized that, Hammerfall is even busy as I sleep because you got, oh God, what came out over the course of the night? You got the One Against the World, the music video,
Oh yeah.
live music
Yes.
video just came out. Literally just came out.
Yeah. It was this morning for us, and of course for you. It's
Yes.
kind of.
Now,
But yeah,
are
it's
you in Sweden right now?
yes, I am. Yeah,
Okay.
we played in Sweden on Saturday, so now I'm home. But we're going to Siberia on Thursday. Should be pretty.
Siberia.
Yeah, could be interesting. So it's the first time I've ever been there. But there's a festival called something Kemerovo Rock Festival or something like that.
All right. So I guess you
We
guys are
got
going to
banned.
you're gonna be packing your warm clothes.
I honestly don't know the temperature. I always check that out when I go to a place I don't know. So
Yeah.
I check out what the temperature is, but I haven't done that yet because we don't leave until a couple of days.
All
So
right. All
we'll
right.
see. But it's a festival with Accept and within Temptation. So it's going to be a good time. Of that I have no doubt.
Very cool. Well, I know you guys got a North American tour planned for the fall, and you guys are going to be supporting Sabaton, as Sabaton has supported you over in Sweden in the past. But I'll tell you what, whoever planned your tour dates, wow, did they do a great job. Because right now in the United States, not that you pay attention to the news over here at all, but we are getting roasted, cooked, like rotisserie
I heard
chicken.
that.
Oh, it's over
I
100
heard that.
degrees. Yeah, it's crazy. But
Then
yeah,
terrible.
so Dominion, Hammerfall's 11th studio album, coming out August 16th, everybody. August 16th. How does it feel that now this, album's coming out? You've already got a couple of music videos, lyric music videos at least, in support of this album. Got to feel pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it's been we released the first song of the album.
We rock
Let's see.
Sweden. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yes,
make Sweden
we make
rock.
Sweden rock. Yeah,
Yeah,
it came out in May 2nd, or I believe. So
right.
it's been a while now. I mean, it's a couple of months. I'm excited to finally get to the album release. But we do have another single coming out in a couple of weeks. So 3 songs before, and that single is going to be sort of the main single with the proper video and stuff. Like you said, we only have
Okay.
a lyric video.
All
The
right.
one that came out this morning, One Against the World,
Yeah.
is it's like live. It's live shots, but it's a studio version of the song, but live shots from other things.
Right on.
Just to make one of those classic '80s videos that you could see way back when.
Yeah, now, I don't know if you're allowed to disclose anything about this other video or anything like that, but I got to tell you, Oscar, I listen to all of Dominion, and, I love it. I think it's absolutely awesome, not blowing smoke at all. One of the songs that really struck me, was Second to One. It had, it's a ballad, basically. I mean, that's like your ballad on that album, I take it. I don't suppose that's going to be the one you're doing a video for, is it?
Not at this point,
Okay.
but there might be something in the pipeline for later.
Aha! I think we got a little something there. But I've listened to some of the other discussions you've had with other people, and I thought it was really interesting that you touched on the fact that even after, over 20 years, of being a band and all the touring you've done, 11 studio albums now, you think that you guys sound better live now than you've ever sounded before. What do you attribute that to? I mean, and what is it that makes you feel that way?
Yeah, I think there's no question that we are a better live band now than at any point of our careers, because we have the members that are in the band right now. We done a lot of tours with this lineup,
Right.
and a lot of shows. Like earlier, many years ago, we used to tour and then take a break of 6 to 8 months while we prepared for the album, and then another couple of months before the album came out, and then we started the tour again. So we didn't play as often as we do now. We never have any breaks, and I think that helps a lot to just, you never get out of it. You're always in the zone with this. But another thing that I think is because we've matured a lot. Especially, I am more talking about myself now than anything else. But I've playing live for me. I want to be able to use the energy and the energy I get from playing live. I want to use that and be on stage and move around and interact with the audience, because that's how I think a heavy metal show should be done.
Right on.
And for me, it's a matter of being just becoming more mature, being more able to channel my emotions a little bit when I'm playing, so that I can actually play the stuff I'm supposed to play without losing a step when I'm interacting with the audience. That has always maybe been my problem. And also, I've become a much better guitar player now than I was, let's say, 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah, and
So
I want to
that
touch
helps a
on
lot.
that too. Yeah, I do want to touch on that. I thought Joachim sounded absolutely awesome on this album. I mean, his vocals are off the charts. But then I know you're a humble guy. You're a humble guy, Oscar. And I mean, like you just touched on, you're still getting better at the guitar. You still feel like there's so much further for you to go as a guitarist, and that possibly, potentially, Pontus has had a bit of an influence in that area. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Oh, of course. If I'm being real honest, I was never a great guitar player, and especially not a great lead guitar player.
Yeah.
That was never I had no interest in that. I wanted to play the cool riffs. That's how I started to play guitar, because I wanted to play the songs that I was listening to. And that's how I spent most of my career so far. I just played the riffs and never practiced any scales whatsoever, because I hate that. But when Pontus came into the band, he had a lot of patience with me, and he helped me a lot with these little sort of licks and stuff you can use for warm up before the show. The one thing led to another, and all of a sudden I realized, because we do so many shows like we talked about before, and it's been
Right.
a lot of shows in a row,
Right.
you always warm up before the show. It became like a warm up, a practice disguised as a warm up. So I didn't have to sit there and torment myself by practicing. I just played because I needed to get my fingers warm for the show that I was supposed to do. And that's how it started for me. And Pontus has definitely facilitated that, because I never, if you have a guitar player, there was nothing wrong with playing with Stefan before him, but I have a different relationship with Pontus, and I know that Pontus is not judging me at all. If you make a mistake, he's just gonna, yeah, okay, this is how you do it, and there's never any, you don't have to feel bad for that, and that helps when you're practicing, because you're supposed to be able to make mistakes in the rehearsal room. You're supposed to be able to make a mistake, because that's how you learn, right?
Right.
And I never had that feeling before. And I'm not saying that has anything to do with Stefan necessarily at all. More that that's where the dynamic changed when Pontus came into the band. So I credit him with a lot of this for me becoming a better guitar player. And this was, though, it was a conscious effort from my point, though. I decided as a New Year's resolution in 2011. Yeah, when 2010 became 2011, I made actually 2 New Year's resolutions. I never do any, ever. This might be the only ones I ever did. But I did 2, and I stuck with them. I decided these are going to happen. So the first one was I wanted to make I wanted to live in a house. I had an apartment before, and I was sick of being around neighbors. I didn't want to have to care about anybody else being underneath me on the floor, underneath or above me for that matter, or through the wall. I wanted to have my own house where I could my own dominion, shall we say.
Play as loud as you want.
Yeah, exactly. The big part of it. And the second one was I'm going to become a better guitar player. That's the second one. It took me a while to get started, but that's when the seed was sown. And over the years that was after that, I was playing things, and one thing that I realized just on the last tour we did, there's a song on Built to Last, our previous album, called Stormbreaker, and this starts with a kind of a lick thing that I wrote, but I could never play. So Pontus played it in the studio, and we never played it live, so we didn't have to worry about that. But I was like, I want to be able to play this. I think it's a cool thing. So I started to just fool around with it, basically. I never thought oh, I'm going to learn how to play this. I never thought that. Well, for 1 second. And all of a sudden, after a year or a year and a half of touring, I realized, wait a second, I can actually play this now. What the fuck?
Right on, right on.
So I learned how to do it just by playing for fun. And that, for me, everything needs to be, I need to be having a good time. I need to be enjoying myself. Otherwise, then work doesn't become work anymore. Then it's just, you're having fun.
Isn't that the dream that we all have, you know? I mean, if you love what you do, you know, then it's not work. You know, you have a job, you have a good paying job, but it's not work. But I like that you talked about Dominion, or Built to Last there, you know, just briefly. Because, of course, Dominion, everybody, coming out August 16th, 11th studio album. All right? Make sure you get out there, you know, because Hammerfall's kicking some ass. But so what would you say is one of the more distinct differences, if at all, you know, from the overall sound theme between Dominion and Built to Last? Is there one, or is this just kind of an extended version?
I think it's a good continuation on Built to Last, but it's also not Built to Last Part 2 in any way. I think we have there are several things that have been different, but for us when we were writing this album. Part of it is we had a lot more time. Built to Last was really stressful because of the many shows that we did for Revolution, for the previous album before that. That took away a lot of the time that we have to normally prepare for an album. So I was extremely stressed. The last, maybe for half of the songs on the album, I just wrote them, passed them on to Joachim. I started another song, wrote that one, passed it on to Joachim. I never had time to savor the songs, really. And for me, as an artist or as a songwriter, that is at least half of the fun. Because I don't write the music I write. I love the music I write. I think that every song I write is the best song that ever has been written by anybody, because I love it, you know. And then a year later, maybe I don't feel the same, but I never feel like this song is crap. I've never felt that about anything I've ever done. But of course, I can distinguish between songs when I get a little bit of distance to them, see that this one was maybe better for this and this reason, whatever it is. But with Built to Last, I didn't have any chance to enjoy the songs at all before they were already recorded. And I hated that part. I really hated it. So I wanted to change that. I had to change it for my own sake of having a job that I love. Right. So I started writing songs on the road, which if you asked me before that, this album, I would say no way, I can never do it. I will never be able to do it. But I decided to give it a shot. But one part was because all I need to write music now is it's a guitar, a little interface, and then the computer with the software on it. And I found this little guitar called a Traveler's guitar.
Oh yeah, right on.
Yeah, it fits in my suitcase, so I can bring it anywhere. I brought it on tour. I brought it on vacation. Anywhere I went, anywhere with anybody, basically, I brought the guitar and the setup with me, so I could write songs when I felt inspiration struck, instead of writing songs when, like, I have time to write songs. Basically, you know, if you're sitting on the beach somewhere and this is really, I feel inspired now. It's great to have that possibility to go back to the hotel later and start actually taking advantage of that inspiration. And there were a lot of times where I had inspiration, but I didn't have any outlet for it. And this time I could write whenever I felt like. That helped a lot too. And also being on stage was a huge boost, because the adrenaline you get from being on stage playing for people or performing for people was it just because you get off stage, it doesn't go away. The adrenaline stays with you for a couple of hours. Right on. And several times I used that adrenaline and sort of channel it into the songwriting, which was really helpful. And that made the whole process fun, because it was easy that way. You know, you're already right on a high. You're already riding the wave. You just kept riding it a little bit longer and actually made something last for the future. And that's for me as a songwriter, this was fantastic. It's a really, really good experience. Nice.
So No, I was just gonna say, so lyrically then, for Dominion, how much of that lyric writing is you versus Joachim, and or is it more collaborative? Do you guys both have a hand in that?
No, generally I write the music. Okay. They come up with a song title, and some choruses, like when I have a melody for a chorus, whatever it is, if I have something good, I put it down and send it to him. But then he writes 100% of the lyrics.
Okay. All right.
At least on this album, is 100% Joachim. I never get involved in that at all. It's completely his department.
Right on.
And then, of course, he does all the rest of the song, the melodies for whatever the song needs to have. So that's generally how we write songs together. It's basically how we always have done songs together since day one.
Right on. Right on. Now, we make Sweden rock. One of the things I think is really interesting, Oscar, is the rich history of heavy metal coming out of Sweden. Because of course you've got, the British heavy metal, you've got, the United States heavy metal, and, and then you've got Sweden, which has just got so many amazing bands coming out of there, like yourselves. Nowadays you've got bands like Amon Amarth, you got Ghost, guys that are really, really making a huge name for themselves just because the amount of time that they're touring in the United States. And of course they're great bands. But one thing, but one thing I think that's really interesting about Hammerfall, it almost kind of made me think of like a Saxon, and I had the chance to speak with Biff Byford not too long ago, and I thought it was really interesting that as influential as they were for so many of the bands in the United States that made it really, really big. I mean, they had such a huge influence, and I'm sure you guys did too. And we kind of touched on the success factor, like why they weren't necessarily considered, worldwide, like, and just really huge in the United States. And of course, you guys are big time over in Sweden. Would you say that maybe the lack of regular touring in the United States has inhibited maybe some of that greater worldwide success that you guys so rightfully deserve? Because I know that, Biff kind of had those feelings about Saxon. Would you say that that's fair?
I definitely. I think it's actually I can't speak for Saxon in the 80s because I don't know what the in the 80s I was still a little bit too young back then. But definitely the musical climate for melodic music in the US has not been great since we started with Hammerfall. You can say that. And it goes sort of hand in hand. We haven't toured a lot over there, or at least not regularly, because it's been up and down with the not the actual response at the shows maybe, but the whole thing, the whole package of touring.
Right.
And of course, the US was more interested in the aggressive, the hard, whatever stuff. Right. The clear melodic vocals haven't been really respected as much. It's coming back now for sure, but it was we did 98, 2002, 2005, and 2010.
Right.
Those are our 4 tours. Right. You can't expect anything to happen if you tour 4 times in 12 years. It's you have to put in the work too. But for us, it was a matter of things don't work over in the US. Hammerfall will never work in the US, but okay, we'll give it one more shot. And we went back in 2017, and I'm not kidding. This was the last chance, basically. If this doesn't work, we'll probably never do another tour in the US. Because
don't say that, Oscar. No.
But then we know for sure it doesn't work because that was a co-headline with Delane that we did, and that was an amazing tour on all accounts. It was really successful and great for us.
Awesome.
So we said, let's come back the next year. So we went back in 2018 as well on a headline tour. And now we have realized that it's not a lost cause anymore, which we may have written it off as. It's actually a good market for us to build on. So that's why we're coming back with Sabaton in October.
Yes.
And we're definitely trying to do a headline tour next year as well. No information about that yet. We're looking into that for sure.
That's awesome.
So, and that means that we toured for 12 years. We did 4 tours previous to this, and now we will have. If this headline tour next year becomes a reality, we've done 4 tours in 4 years.
That's amazing.
And that's how you grow something, and that's why we do it. So we realized it actually does work, and we're enjoying being there, of course. So that's why we're coming back, and I have such high hopes for this Sabaton tour that we do.
Oh man, it's going to be huge. I mean, at least
Yeah.
I already know, amongst my peers and whatnot, it should be absolutely insane. Now, one of the things I think is interesting too, and you kind of touched on this, you're always writing. You're always thinking of new music.
Mhm.
You're never being complacent. You're never pausing. I mean, here we've got Dominion that's coming out August 16th, people. All right, so make sure you go out and get Hammerfall's latest new masterpiece. But have you already got new music beyond what you are going to be releasing for Dominion?
Perhaps.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. So busy,
No,
busy guy.
honestly, yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't written that much since the recordings. I need a little bit of a couple of months to decompress.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Sure.
once the actual tour starts, now I'm home for the most part of the week. We play usually weekends, festivals,
Very
and
cool.
over the summer. I'm home with the family now. It's a bit of a summer vacation / doing interviews thing. But once the touring starts, I expect I'll be back in songwriting mode pretty quickly. So I'm actually looking forward to that part to see how that works this time, because it worked so well last time.
Very cool. Very cool. And I mean, as far as this release of Dominion, obviously it's with Napalm Records, and your last couple albums, I guess, have been with them. And then you had your previous relationship with Nuclear Blast, of course. How's everything been with Napalm? Happy with them? Happy with how you guys are being taken care of and treated and the quality of everything?
There was a reason that we left Nuclear Blast, obviously, but we're still friends. I mean, we know them. We grew together with Nuclear Blast. We
Right.
grew for 17 years.
Right.
They were a small label when we signed with them.
Right.
We were a nothing band basically when we signed with them, and then we both of us grew together. But I think it felt like we needed a new challenge. We needed new, fresh ideas, basically, to take the band to the next level,
Yeah.
basically, and that's why we signed with Napalm. And it was sort of a challenge to challenge people to think a little bit differently. Nuclear Blast was so worn out; they do the same things over and over. And it worked well,
Right.
but we needed to. We didn't want to be. We weren't complacent. We wanted to keep moving. Basically, that's why we tried something else.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Oscar, thank you so much for your time, and good luck. Good luck with the release of Dominion. I know all your fans
Thank you
are
very much.
totally jacked about it, and can't wait to see it this fall when you get over here to the States and tour with Sabaton. That should be pretty awesome. Thanks again, man. I appreciate it.
It'll be amazing.
Yes.
No worries at all. Thanks
Yeah.
so much for the interview.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
take care.
Right on.
Yeah.